Did the Strawberry Shortcake start in Plant City?
I don't know if it started there, but we sure put it on the map. Governor Ron DeSantis came to the Strawberry Festival to announce that the Strawberry Shortcake is the official dessert of the state of Florida.
I love it. Welcome to Money Market, a Bank of Tampa podcast. We highlight the businesses, expert business advice, local economy, and points of interest in the Tampa Bay market. Follow us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and make sure to tell a friend or tell a colleague. I'm your host, Owen LaFave, the Pinellas County Market President for the Bank of Tampa, Tampa's oldest and largest community bank. Today, we're joined by the one and only Kyle Robinson, the president of the Plant City Strawberry Festival. Do you want to share a little bit about your background, Kyle? Because it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I'd love to. In fact, first, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk about something I love, the Florida Strawberry Festival. And, my journey to this position is unique. And I grew up in Plant City. My wife grew up in Plant City. And, I can't think of a year of my life that we didn't spend a lot of time at the Strawberry Festival. Growing up there, it was a big part of our life. When I got out, I graduated from the University of Florida. I wanted to pursue a dream of mine and to be a deputy sheriff, and joined the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and did that for 27 years. 25 of those 27 years, I worked security at the Florida Strawberry Festival.
Okay.
So I got to know the people there. I got to know the grounds there. Yeah. I got to know the board there. And from 2015 on, I oversaw the entire security plan at the Strawberry Festival. And so, during that time period, there was conversation about, maybe if you retire from the sheriff's office and the current president, Paul Davis, retired from the festival, maybe it would work out one day. And it did. And so I joined the Strawberry Festival full-time August of 22, so coming up on my second year anniversary. But it's been quite a blessing. Not many people get to have two dream jobs. And I'm one of those people that had a wonderful career at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. I retired as a colonel overseeing all of patrol operations, and now I have my second dream job at the Florida Strawberry Festival.
The transition doesn't seem too far of a stretch, the way you mentioned it, because, security has to be a huge part of just the organization of the event. So to transition from overseeing all the security into the role of the president, which I'm sure is different, and I'd love to know kind of what your day-to-day looks like, but it doesn't seem like that much of a stretch.
No, and you're correct. Without safety and security, you don't have a fair.
Right.
And we've seen fairs experience acts of violence that really didn't recover. They not only the year that the event would occur, they may not open for a few days, but really it hurts attendance and hurts people's willingness to go to that fair for years to come. So we take safety and security very serious, and in fact, it's one of our largest expenses, hiring and employing Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office deputies and Plant City Police Department officers, not only throughout the event, but they're around there 24 hours a day before the event and even days after.
I can imagine. So what is your day-to-day like? What does the president do?
Well, it's an interesting job in the fact that no days are ever the same, and no months are ever the same. So, our event is always the ninth Thursday of the year. It begins, which always is late February, early March, and we start ramping up for the festival November, December, and then by the time we get to January, February, March, our whole staff is working 7 days a week.
How big is your staff?
22 full-time employees, okay. And that counts our maintenance staff. They're all year-round employees. One of the first things people asked when I took this job was, "That's a full-time job?" I think some people thought that perhaps we just show up and we have a fair every year and then we go home. But I can assure you it's a full-time job. But the preparation begins all year. This time of year, and in the summertime, it's really our planning. It's our building. We have an aggressive building plan, so we can always make something new and interesting for our guests. Whether it's building new restrooms to make it more comfortable for our guests, which we did. We actually spent $1 million on the restrooms because one lady wrote a letter and said, I came to a concert And I missed half the show because the line at the restroom was so long. All it took was one letter and one phone call back to that guest. And we said, you know what? She's 100% right.
Yeah.
Let's go invest in some restrooms. And another concern of people's was shade and places to sit. So last year we invested in a building. This year we have a really aggressive building campaign to really change the look of the festival. And that's what we're focusing on now. And that is our headline entertainment stage. That stage has been there for 30 years, and it served us well. The biggest names in music in the world played there: Taylor Swift, Garth Brooks, and you name it, Reba McEntire. They've all been there. But that stage now is no longer adequate for these big shows. You know, the trim height. Everybody's got more lights and bigger screens and more trucks and we have to grow and accommodate that. So
how does the funding for that work? Is that all just from like ticket proceeds and sponsorships and advertisement, or are you looking for outside and fundraising?
No. So one thing that's great about the festival, I love it. The festival has never taken any money from the government.
Okay.
And even though fairs do have grants, it's our belief that we've been blessed and financially that there's other fairs that could probably better use that money. So we don't take money from the government, and we've never taken a loan since 1930. You know, the festival started in 1930.
Don't be the first guy.
You know.
You can't ruin that streak. And even as a bank, I'd love to give you a loan, but yeah, don't do it.
Well, we love banking with the Bank of Tampa, but hopefully we don't have to take out a loan. But it's all self-funded, you know, like you said, ticket sales, sponsorships, vendor revenue. You know, we rent the spaces to the vendors, the individual food concessionaires and other craft vendors. And so we're able to self-fund all of that. And, you know, the entertainment business is getting difficult. There's more venues that people want to come see a concert. There's a lot of competition in the market, you know, and artists don't want to work like they once did, you know, 20-something years ago. Your older country music folks wanted to work 220 days a year. Now they may want to work 60 days a year. So it's a lot of competitiveness to try to land those big acts, and we've been successful. We want to continue to be successful. And one of the things we have to do is grow our stage and give them. We want the artists to say, "I want to go to the Strawberry Festival and play." We don't want to have to beg them to come. And I think with this new stage, we're going to make a giant leap to doing that.
Well, what I've been amazed with over the years is the evolution and diversity of the performers that are there. So is that strategic? Are they just approaching you? And I mean, so I think when Nelly was there last year, which I scratched my head a little bit about. And I know he's got a crossover song, but what's the
and you're correct. You know, growing up there, we'd go to concerts all the time, and it was country music every night of the week. Yeah. And it is strategic. We really want to be a Strawberry Festival for everyone, you know, and not only with our music, but our arts and our crafts and something to appeal to everyone. And certainly music is where we start. Is we get a lot of publicity on TV and on radio for our acts, and we're trying to appeal to a lot of people. And it's not only getting the acts, but it's putting them on the proper night. You know.
Yeah.
Our agriculture shows, we don't want to put a huge country act on the same night as one of our steer shows. You know, because that's our audience.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, makes sense. So I have to ask about decorum. So we attended, I think it was about 6 years ago now. And I know there is something to do with the Strawberry Queen, but so in particular, this is Little Big Town. Mm-hmm. And so she starts, and the lead singer is like, and everybody's saying, Plant City, get on your feet. And the six of us are like, yeah. And we get up, and we're acting crazy and cheering, and everyone around us is like, you need to sit down. And we're like, she just said to stand up. Like, we're standing up. We're at a concert. And they're like, you need to sit down. And I mean, they brought security over, and the security kind of looked at us, and we're like, they're not doing anything. But I told that story to a Plant City native, and this is 6 years ago, so I don't remember the details. But they're like, well, was the Strawberry Queen there? And I'm like, I have no idea. And so they're like, well, you can't stand up until the Strawberry Queen comes in. So
it's funny you mentioned that.
Help me with that.
Not many people recognize that, but we have had to evolve, and that is part of the new country music crowd, particularly. You know, we had Riley Green this year and Cody Johnson, and the crowd really rushed up to the front of the stage before we can anticipate it. You know, it's kind of is a tradition that the last few songs we allow the crowd to come up to the front of the stage, but these two particular crowds. The young country crowd really just overwhelmed the deputies, overwhelmed security, and came right down to the front. And
more deputies this year.
Well, it takes more deputies. What we're doing is that's part of the new stage plan is to develop an area that has standing room tickets. So our new stage plan has a thrust that goes into the crowd, which will allow us to have standing room on both sides of that thrust in the little corner of the stage. And we'll have to kind of lay down some ground rules for the crowd, really. If you buy a standing ticket, you can stand. If you buy a sitting ticket, you can sit. No longer do we have people sit down at their seats. It's a concert. People stand at their seats, and so that was the way it was done historically. But now come have fun, dance at your seat. If you want to stand, we're going to provide a opportunity to buy a standing ticket.
That's good to know. I haven't been back for that reason, but I would tell you I couldn't remember because the last time I'd gone, I think I was in high school, maybe college, and I couldn't tell you who I saw, and it was a memorable experience. So when we got up and everybody was like just ready to drag us out and put us behind the horse and drag us.
Well, we've had to adapt. I can recall being a deputy out there saying, don't allow anyone to take pictures. Don't allow anybody to video. Now, everybody has a cell phone.
Right.
Now
which is kind of sad because when you look at the crowd, everybody's looking at their phone and they're not experiencing the act on stage.
It is. It's but I can assure you we're trying to evolve. We're trying to make it the best guest experience in our concerts. And I think this new stage and new plan we have for allowing people to stand if that's what they want to do. They can buy a standing ticket.
Okay.
So it's exciting.
So Plant City is known as the winter strawberry capital of the world. Can you tell us about the industry's impact on Plant City and why the strawberry is important?
Yeah, absolutely. Strawberry is king in Plant City. Yeah. And not only because our community is kind of based on that. If you think about it, they've been growing strawberries in Plant City since the early 1900s. But it wasn't until Henry B. Plant decided to come to Plant City and bring his railroad that Plant City really blossomed into the winter strawberry capital of the world and began selling strawberries all up and down the east coast of the United States and even into Canada. And it's continuing to grow. People there's a misconception with our growth here in Hillsborough County that agriculture is going to fade away, but I don't believe that's going to be the case. We grow over 15,000 acres of strawberries in East Hillsborough County, and some of it's going down to Manatee County and some in Polk. But the strawberry industry is strong, and the strawberry is now the highest value fruit or vegetable crop in the state of Florida.
Is that right?
Yeah, over citrus. Yeah. And some of that is due to citrus greening. Citrus has had some devastating blows to their industry, and certainly the strawberry industry is not happy about that. But the strawberries is doing well.
That's great. So did the festival start to kind of is a tribute to the strawberry industry in Plant City?
Absolutely, yeah. So in the late 1920s, a group of civic-minded individuals said, how can we best promote our premier crop? And the Strawberry Festival started in 1930, and it was a 4-day event, but it was much similar to the Strawberry Festival we have now. It had rides and crafts and shows, and it's just grown over those years. This year's our 90th annual. We did the Strawberry Festival took a short break for World War II.
Understandable.
But then we jumped right back in the saddle after the war was over and been going strong ever since. But now we're an 11-day festival. We were attended by over 634,000 people last year, which was all-time attendance record for the Strawberry Festival. And so, we've been talking about entertainment and our big country acts, and we have a huge midway with rides, but it always comes back to the strawberry, and it always comes back to our agriculture. And our goal is to support agriculture and our youth in agriculture.
Did the Strawberry Shortcake start in Plant City?
I don't know if it started there, but we sure put it on the map. It was in, I believe it was 2022, where Governor Ron DeSantis came to the Strawberry Festival to announce that the Strawberry Shortcake is the official dessert of the state of Florida.
I love it. They're tasty. I have one every year. So in terms of I will say fair rides aren't my favorite. The stuff that goes around in circles, but my kids love it. So I mean, we make it a point to, we get the wristbands and they ride around until they puke while I stuff my face with food.
You're like every other parent. That's what everybody does.
I still love the roller coasters, but man, the fair rides, I don't know. About 10 years ago, I just was like, I can't do it.
It happens.
What are the must tries for food at the Strawberry Festival besides shortcake?
Yeah, well, it's the whole business is intriguing in the fact that all of the food vendors are always searching for the newest, most interesting food. And
they're creative, man.
Every year somebody comes up with something new. I don't know if you recall a few years ago, they had the Krispy Kreme donut, which was a double hamburger with the bun was 2 donuts. And that's like, I think I've seen it all now. No, I have not.
That's a heart attack right now.
There's always something new. But I'm a traditionalist. I'm a shortcake corn dog kind of person.
I mean, I'm with you there. Maybe a funnel cake to top it all off.
Absolutely.
So you talked about the 22 employees, but I mean, there's a ton of volunteers there as well, right?
Yeah. In fact, that's how we're able to be sustainable. Is our volunteers. We have about 1,400 volunteers that come together every year, and they just love the Strawberry Festival. And honestly, our 22 employees, it's more than a job. It's more than a job for me, and it's more than a job for them and our volunteers. We all love the Strawberry Festival. That's why we're there.
Yeah, it's a sense of pride, right?
And so our volunteers come back. We have people working at the gates that are in their late 80s, and they've been doing it for decades. And I was actually with a lady just yesterday that is involved with our fine arts show, and she said, "I got my 30-year pin." It's amazing that people will work decades and decades for a pin. But they do. But we do everything we can to treat our volunteers wonderfurely, and they deserve it, and they keep coming back.
Well, 30 years. I mean, that's a commitment. That's impressive.
That's right.
That says they're treated well. So, are the volunteers the biggest challenge, or what are the biggest challenges to planning an event of that scale?
No, our volunteers are great, and in fact. Most of them come back year after year after year, and it's multi-generational, and so our volunteers are really a blessing in themselves, and not really a challenge. The challenge, I think, every year is trying to come up with something new. Something new that somebody hasn't seen while keeping our tradition and our culture of being that down-home country fair that is the Florida Strawberry Festival. We want people to come there and feel like maybe when they were a kid and went to a fair from another state or city they're from, and that's always our challenge. And it's kind of thinking big picture, but let's give them something new, but let's never lose what makes us what we are. And we talked about the history a little bit of where the festival started. And one of the exhibits that we opened this year and spent a lot of time and effort on was our Florida Strawberry Festival History Center in Queens exhibit.
Oh yeah.
And so we put that in the oldest building.
It was
on
also
our grounds.
air conditioning too.
Nice absolutely. Yeah, walk slow. It's air conditioned. But we house that in our oldest building, which was once a National Guard armory.
Okay.
And it really highlights our history from day one, from 1930 on. It has a picture of every Strawberry Queen from 1930 in there, and it's interesting to walk through. And I think that's a great tribute to those that came before us, and we certainly, all of us around the festival now, we take great pride in where we are, but it's only because we're standing on the shoulders of those that came before us, and we wanted to honor them.
Well, I think it does a really great job, I would say, and maybe multi-generational too, because I appreciated not knowing the history of walking through with my wife, who's from Plant City originally, and appreciating some of that history. And then there's Instagram moments set up for the kids. So the girls are taking the selfies, while we're kind of wandering around, looking at the history and stuff that they're teens, right? They could care less. But
yeah, we put the current Strawberry Queen's dress in there, and we have a cutout where you can put your face in there and look like you're the queen for that one little selfie
there may or
snapshot.
May not be a picture with my face in there that didn't make it to social media.
First queen with a beard. Interesting.
So in terms of the financial impact, I mean, you got 600,000 people coming through there. It has to be huge. I mean, what does that look like?
It is. And in 2015, we did an economic impact study, and it revealed that the Strawberry Festival has a $26 million impact directly in our local economy. And we're planning to do another one here in the next year or two, because I think that's grown exponentially. And that impact study revealed that, we create over 200 permanent jobs, not only in our local community, but really throughout the state, that has that ripple effect. And we while we have a small full-time staff, we have 600 seasonal workers that we hire every year. And while we talk about $26 million economic impact, I think it's equally, if not more important, to talk about the impact it has on individual families. And, with those seasonal workers, many of them take vacation from their everyday job for that 11 days and come make a little bit of money. They get a paid vacation from their job and come out there and work 11 days. And it makes a huge financial impact to families. And we take great pride in that. And we try to pay people well, and so they'll always come back. And
that's fantastic.
It's a good feeling knowing that you can provide for people. And I was one of them, as a deputy sheriff. Nobody gets rich being a deputy sheriff, but I'd go out there for 11 days, take vacation from the regular job, and go out there, and that paid for our family vacations, and that paid for those extras that perhaps we wouldn't get.
Some travel baseball or
travel baseball and tuition.
Right. Yes. So you had mentioned the impact study, and I don't know if it got granular enough, but impact on families. Do you recall if there's anything in there specifically about the impact on small businesses that are in the Plant City market?
Yeah, and that actually. That was a big part of the study, and the fact that everybody benefits. A rising tide floats all boats, and the festival being successful, it really brings up our entire community. Whether it's a restaurant or we fill our hotels and the repair shops and the gas stations. It really is. It's such an instrumental part of our city and really East Hillsborough County, and really throughout Hillsborough County. We like to give back too. We've been fortunate that just the 4th of July, the city of Plant City has a 4th of July fireworks show, and we funded that show. Okay. So not only do we try to help the community those 11 days a year, but we're always giving back, and the festivals.
Yeah, you give back in other ways too. You want to talk about some of the other things
we support our agriculture and our youth in agriculture. And this year, these young people in 4-H and FFA exhibit their steers and swine and plants, and the kids auction those off, and we have an auction there, and we had a tremendous increase in participation with buyers this year, and those children, by selling their steers and pigs and plants, raised $1,985,000.
Good for
and
them.
That's not a revenue stream for the Strawberry Festival. That goes to the kids. That gives them a head start on life. It pays for tuition. It gives them, whatever they want to do in their future. That's their money. And we're very, 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 very proud of that. And, in addition to the money part, it really teaches life lessons and responsibility in business. Not everybody wins in business. They purchase these projects, they feed them, and they take care of them. And at the end of the day, sometimes expenses outweigh
real life economics.
Your revenue, and so and they learn from that. But it's something that we'll never deviate from. We'll always be an agricultural fair, and we support those youth. Not only through the sale of their exhibits, but scholarships. We gave over $50,000 in scholarships to our young people, and give back to the FFA chapters so they can continue to do their good work. And that's probably the best part about the job, is you get to be a part of changing people's lives and changing the community for the better.
No, sure. So security. You had mentioned all the coordination with the sheriff. So Don Barnes, the CEO of E-Mystic Crew, came on the podcast, and he had talked about working with 30 different law enforcement agencies and over I think I don't know 1,000 different law enforcement officers, and it sounds like you have as equal, if not more. What does that coordination look like? Is it just with the sheriff's department? Is there other organizations that are involved with the safety and security also?
Yeah. So outside the gates, working traffic and security on the outside is the Plant City Police Department. They I believe they had about 85 sworn officers, and so it's a tremendous lift for them because they have to, cover their normal shift and cover their normal zones, and then on their days off, they're required to come work the festival. So it's a long 11 days. They handle security on the outside, and the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office handles security on the inside. On any given day, we'll have about 100 deputies there. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, in our busy days, we'll have more like 130 deputies there. Sheriff Cronister's wonderful to us. He realizes the value of the partnership with the Strawberry Festival, and he provides us deputies on bicycles and the mounted unit, and aviation flies over in the helicopter on our busy nights just to ensure that people feel safe. And that's one of the number one compliments that I've received, both as a deputy working there and
I will give it to you
job.
too. Yes,
people
incredibly
say,
safe.
This is the most safe I've ever felt at a large event or at a fair. And that's what we want. We want people to come in. We want people to, when they get off the interstate, they see law enforcement. When they get to the parking lot, they see law enforcement. When they get to the gate, more. When they come inside, deputy sheriffs, they feel safe. And we've been fortunate that we haven't had any significant events.
I will tell you, I mean, that's exactly true. And I don't know what makes it different, but it feels incredibly safe. It feels orderly. I feel like there's a certain level of, respect that isn't always present at other festivals, and whether that's law enforcement or just the culture of Plant City. I mean, it's a different feeling.
It is, and it's because those law enforcement officers out there don't have to be there. They want to be there. They love the Strawberry Festival. Being out there as a deputy, I love the Strawberry Festival. I treated it like it was my Strawberry Festival. Yeah. And those deputies do the same thing. And that's why they're highly visible and highly active. And we try to solve a problem before it becomes a problem.
No, it's evident. You were talking about getting off the interstate and seeing the police officers, but getting off the interstate and getting to the festival sometimes can be a little bit of a challenge. And in years past, I've also made the misstep of thinking that I'd show up and didn't buy parking in advance. And I'm like, oh, we'll find parking. And I felt like we had to park in Brandon and walk all the way to Plant City. But can you talk about infrastructure a little bit and maybe parking? Is there anything being done to like alleviate some of the stresses of all the people, the 600,000 people that are coming in?
Yeah, in fact, that's always a problem. And, and our county is growing too. It's not just during the time of the Strawberry Festival, but it's a challenge.
That's on top of all the other traffic.
To Plant City every day. I did it for years, driving back and forth to Ybor City every day. I lived it. We actually have a new member to our board of directors who is with the Florida Department of Transportation. So we have gained a little insight that there are future plans to do some work on US 92, which runs on the north side of the festival, and then we got 574 on the south side of the festival, and of course Interstate 4 as well. I think Interstate 4 has been a construction zone probably for the last 25 years, but it's going to continue. So it's my understanding that they are going to do significant work on some intersections there and some widening projects that will kind of open up those arteries to get people in quicker. And hopefully that's, I know that the governor has kind of rushed up some other I-4 projects a little further east than us that I think, he'll continue to come to the west and affect Plant City. But what the festival is doing is we have a unique opportunity to purchase some property. All around the festival is mostly residential, and we've taken the opportunity to purchase some lots and continue to do that. I recently sent a letter to some property owners that maybe their house didn't look like anybody lived there. It had kind of gone derelict, or some folks that might might appreciate a willing buyer to buy the property, but we have an opportunity coming up to buy some properties that we're going to turn into parking.
Okay.
And hopefully get people parked and get them in and starting to have fun rather than sitting in traffic. That is one of our number one complaints. It's just not easily solved.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's geography is geography, right? I mean, there's only so much space, and get there early would be my advice. What about the vendors? There's tons of vendors as you walk around the Strawberry Festival. Are they local? Do they come from out of the area? I mean, what's the story with the vendors?
Yeah, we have over 400 vendors and concessionaires that come each year. Most of them have been there for many, many decades, and they're all small businesses. They're husband and wife teams, sometimes multi-generational businesses that come from all over the country to come to our Strawberry Festival, and they're such a vital part of it. And they come and they not only earn a living at our Strawberry Festival, they spend money in our community. They take the money that they earned at our Strawberry Festival and take it back to other places in the country and contribute it to their economy. And so our vendors are such a huge part of what we do at the Florida Strawberry Festival.
I can imagine. So for a first timer, someone that's never been before, what would you recommend? I mean, Kyle's going to tell them this is what you need to do. This is what you can expect. This is what you can't miss. What would you say?
You mentioned it already. Come early.
Yeah.
Come early. And if you can, I know it's not always possible, but the weekends are very, very busy. But if you can come on a weekday and enjoy some of the things that you might not get to see when it's really busy, we have a Heroes Day where we honor military veterans and first responders, and we have a Senior Citizen Day both Thursdays. And I think when you come on the weekend, you're there with the big crowd, and perhaps you miss something. But best advice: come early, and then if you can come on a weekday, come on a weekday.
Do you come on a student day?
Student Day's good.
Yeah.
We love our student days. And in fact, that first Saturday of the festival is always a student day, and then Monday is the Grand Strawberry Festival Parade.
Okay, yeah.
And usually everybody that's in the parade kind of funnels in the gates afterwards. And the crowds are great, but like we talked about it's secure. Even if we have a large crowd, it's safe, it's secure. People are having a good time. Nobody seems to be frustrated or in a rush. It's just it's a neat atmosphere, and to have that many people in such a small space is still enjoyable.
Well, it really is a special event, and it highlights, I think, what's great about Plant City, not only the ag piece and all that you do to give back, but just people being able to come together and connect and celebrate, strawberries, but also just the kind of the collective goodwill of people getting together and having a good time. So,
and that is what it's about. I think people go and they think, this is what America's all about. It takes them away from the real world for a little bit, and they feel like they're in a different world at the Florida Strawberry Festival.
Well said. Anything else you want to share with us, Kyle?
No, we appreciate you having us. And if you haven't been to the Strawberry Festival, please come visit. We have something for everybody, and it's a good time.
People want to get in touch with you. How do they do that?
Well, flstrawberryfestival.com. And we just rolled out last year our new Florida Strawberry Festival app. You can get it at Google Play or the Apple Store, and that'll give you everything you need to know. And you can always call the main office there. We have a live person ready to answer.
Okay, maps, exhibits, everything.
All right there.
Okay, all right, great. Well, Kyle Robinson, thank you for coming on Money Market.
Thank you for having me.
So if you have a question or future show idea, would like to be a sponsor, if you could send us a message at moneymarket@bankoftampa.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and Instagram at Bank of Tampa, and online at bankoftampa.com. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you around in the Money Market.